guys, and welcome back to my Evilness podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about the murder of Maulin Rathod. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it, sorry. Maybe Rathod, R-A-T-H-O-D. Anyhow, he was a 24-year-old student who had been in Australia for 4 years, who lived in Melbourne and attended Charles Sturt University and studied accounting. On the 23rd of July 2018, at 6:37 p.m, Rathod messages a lady, yeah, she was 18, so, called Jamie-Lee Dolhedgy. Sorry. On the dating app Plenty of Fish. He sent, "Hi," then added, "Let's hang. Are you keen?" Within minutes, Jamie had invited him over to her place. "I'll put on my favourite perfume," she messaged him. Jamie-Lee's online profile indicated that she was dating for the first time. She had borderline personality disorder, suicidal ideation, and extreme fetishes, including bondage and discipline. "We'll do whatever you want," Mr. Rathod told Jamie-Lee via text before he drove over to her house. While Mr. Rathod was on his way, the teenager went online and searched, "I'm going to kill somebody tonight for fun," and "I will kill someone tonight, I want to commit murder." Within an hour, she had choked him. It was never disputed that Jamie-Lee had killed Maulin, but her barrister questioned whether or not she had had murderous intent. The distinction here is important as it makes a difference between whether or not she'll be charged with murder or manslaughter. At the beginning of the trial, the jury was told that Dolhedgy, discussed choke play with her victim. I'm just going to call her Jamie-Lee. She then choked him before wrapping a cable around his neck and strangling him, the court was told. The cable that she strangled him with was from a sex toy. She immediately phoned police and confessed. "He came. He didn't seem scared. I strangled him," she told a police officer. "He's on my bed. It feels so good. I don't want to be a killer." Her lawyer told jurors that Jamie-Lee had a difficult upbringing and had experienced extreme abuse that forced her into care from the age of 10. She has a personality disorder and a history of self-harm and suicide attempts. From the age of 14, she lived with full-time carers, but that provision was removed when she turned 18, and she now lived alone. Jamie-Lee was so damaged and her mind was in such chaos that you couldn't be satisfied that she had murderous intent, defence barrister Shannon Lacey said. "Her mind was a torrent of terrifying thoughts and emotions," Miss Lacey said. Jamie-Lee faced a pre-sentence hearing in April 2020. Jamie-Lee spent much of her trial smiling and drawing pictures with coloured pencils in the docks. Jurors heard how Jamie-Lee's borderline personality disorder, played a role in Mr. Rathod's killing. They heard the police interview with detectives on the night that Jamie-Lee had killed Mr. Rathod. It included a series of disclosures about her split personalities. She said the bad side came out when she was dressed in a certain cosplay outfit when she was on the bed with Maulin. She said she desperately wanted the police to come over so that they would believe what she was capable of. "One's mean and one's nice, but they're both me," she told detectives of her two personalities. "One is caring and the other is destructive," she said. On her bed, the bad side took over, she said. She asked Maulin if he was happy to learn about choke play, and he said that he was. I told him that I wouldn't let him out of the house, and he said that he didn't care, she told detectives. I said that I'm into choke play, and he said that he's happy to learn anything. So I said that I have, psychopathic tendencies in my head, and I'm not really that safe, and he said that he's not scared. I said to him, do you realise how close my hands are to your throat? And he said, yeah. And then I was like, what would you do if I were to never let go? Are you strong enough to pull me off? And he was like, I'm pretty strong. And I'm like, could we test that theory? And he's like, yeah, as long as you don't hurt me. Jamie-Lee said she moved behind Mr. Rathod on the bed and choked him with her arms and then wrapped her legs around his body so he could not move. Once his body went limp, she used the sex toy cord to strangle him. As she was doing this, she whispered in his ears, it'll be okay. It'll be over. She told the detectives that she doesn't know if he heard her. During her trial, the court heard that Jamie-Lee had Googled the words, I'm going to kill someone tonight for fun. She landed on a web page that offered advice and 10 steps to committing a murder and getting away with it. But when speaking to detectives, she admitted things might have gone differently if Mr. Rathod was larger in stature. If it was a big man, I know this sounds stupid, but I buy it and I'm into vampire fantasies. And I probably would have either got him to run away and latch onto his neck, so I could latch onto his neck, one or the other, she said. Although she was just 18, Jamie-Lee had already had a heartbreakingly complicated life. After experiencing extreme abuse and neglect, she was made a ward of the state at the age of 10, and from the age of 14, needed 24-hour care in her house. Despite her fragile mental state, many of the provisions Jamie had as a child were removed when she turned 18. Instead of having 24-hour care, it was scaled back considerably to regular visits from carers, and she was left to live alone. 4 months into living by herself, Jamie-Lee had a particularly fraught day where she was unable to cope. Desperate and with no family support, she called and texted social workers, asking them to intervene. It's urgent, I've forgotten my medication, she texted a carer. I didn't pick it up. OMFG. Replying, the carer advised her to just ride to the pharmacy, to which Jamie replied, why the fuck should I have to? You fuck this up. As the day went on, Jamie became more upset and expressed that she thought she was going to do something terrible. I feel really sick with bad temptations, she texted to one of her carers. I want to call the police, but they won't believe me. I want to cry. Trust your judgment, came the response. But with a borderline personality disorder and a history of self-harm and suicide attempts, Jamie couldn't trust her judgment. Instead of getting the help she so desperately asked for, Jamie was left alone and took to the internet, where she met an unsuspecting Maulin Rathod. When he arrived at her house, Jamie-Lee was wearing an Asian Lolita cosplay outfit. They had agreed that she would stop choking him when he tapped her hand, but when he tapped, she didn't stop. Instead, she squeezed harder, and then she wrapped a sex toy cord around his neck and strangled him. But Maulin wasn't dead. He was rushed to Sunshine Hospital about 9 p.m, where he tragically died the next day. While his distraught family in India were told, Jamie-Lee was arrested and elements of her past began to emerge. It was revealed that she had delusions that she was a werewolf and once snarled and tried to bite people. Her carers were even scared of her. feel. Thoughts. Imagine the fear he felt upon realizing that in spite of his urgent tapping, you were not going to let go. But Justice Armand had also said that although she knew what she was doing was wrong, her moral culpability was significantly reduced due to mental illness. As a result, your sentence must be significantly moderated, he had said. So, after being found guilty of manslaughter, she was sentenced to 9 years. With time already served, she could be eligible for parole in just over 3 years. So in just over would be, well, in October, so it could be 2023 or 2024 where she will be eligible for parole. Thank you so much for listening. That is all for Maulin Rathod. I should have worked out how to say that properly. Sorry. Thank you so much for listening. I will try and get another one done soon. Thank you. Bye.